2. 5, recognize, respect, and celebrate the distinct environmental features of Washougal and its stewardship of Washington's western gateway to the Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area by encouraging sustainable development practices in public and private sector developments within the downtown renovation area. That, along with number 1, which was to develop and implement design review standards, is complete. It is embodied in Title 18, Section 35 of the Municipal Code. 1835-10, the purpose. 1, to create a distinct, strong identity for the town center, producing a heart for Washougal that is surrounded by solid, strong neighborhoods. Could be a quote from Mr. Hickey's letter. That is embodied in code. The code is not up for repeal. Nothing on the table changes 1835. The only thing that I said I would come back to is number 4, which is to provide predictability and to allow public and private sector downtown investments the opportunity to flourish. The city will refrain from rezoning and or converting current industrial and residential land to commercial uses. And let me stress this, that will hamper downtown revitalization efforts. Suppose Lace, the body shop that's on every radio station in town, wanted to build a facility in Washougal. They couldn't do it because we can't rezone a property to let them. On the other hand, they can't build it downtown. It's not a permitted use. Suppose we had a kayak and bicycle vendor who wanted to make flatwater kayaking available on that flat water between Reed Island and the Columbia River shore on this side. Not a permitted use in downtown. And the place that it really needs to be is Captain Clark Park, but that's heavy industrial, and we can't rezone that either. In fact, suppose Fisher Investments or someone like that wanted to come to the Steigerwald Employment Center. A big piece of that is not yet in the city. It is proposed to be annexed, and in order to annex it, it would need to be zoned commercial. In order to do any of those things, we need to repeal this. Or find some very clear code language that defines what we mean by will hamper downtown revitalization efforts. My observation is that Mr. Hickey's letter is a response to something that's not on the table. Almost everything that he appears to be worried about is embodied in Section 1835 of the Washougal Municipal Code.
Mr. Mayor.
John?
Just to reiterate, the Ordinance and Policy Review Committee does recommend that we repeal 926 after reviewing all the things that Councilman Greenlee had just brought forward. So I want to make that clear to council as well.
Thank you. Molly?
In rethinking this, I actually am not in favor of repeal. You know, I really think that as council members, we spend a lot of time with our nose to the grindstone looking at issues and problems and evaluating and analyzing. And sometimes we forget that the end result of what we do is what the public perceives. And they don't, we sometimes lose that big picture vision of what we're doing and the message that we're sending. And I think that's what happened here. I think that we all agree that we do need to start working on rezoning in other areas of the city. We all agree on that. I think we all agree that the downtown is still our core area, and we would like to see it prosper. And I think that if we repeal this, although I agree with all of Paul's points, that we do, in the end, send a message to the community that will cause more upheaval. And we don't really want to send a message to the community that says, although we know it's not true, that we no longer support our downtown core. Because honestly, the resolution was dated 2005, but there has been work done to revitalize downtown for much, much longer than that. So I think we need to really look carefully at what we do tonight, because we know that we still have a strong connection and commitment to our downtown area, as well as the rest of the city.
You're here.
Thank you. Other comments? Michael?
Mr. Mayor. And Mr. Mayor, as a member of the Code and Policy Review Committee, I recommend the repeal of Resolution 926. My main reason for recommending the repeal of 926 is that it would be good to allow appropriate growth outside of just the downtown core. And regarding the downtown core, it's been in the works for a while, as Molly mentioned, and it has a little bit of work to go before it's the vibrant, bustling destination that so many of us want it to be. I, as well, would like to see the downtown be a destination for our own constituents, as well as Vancouverites and Portlanders and others as well. And we can all imagine the success of a downtown that attracts people because of the businesses and culture that they see there, and I definitely want that. However, one principle of economics is that when we deal with human behavior, central planners cannot predict where future success will happen. Instead, government is a negative force that can restrict where businesses can spring up and then hope that businesses will flock to the less restricted areas. Resolution 926 embodies a significant restriction and not a granting of success. Specifically, Resolution 926 states that the city will refrain from rezoning and or converting current industrial and residential land to commercial uses that will hamper downtown revitalization efforts. This resolution does not allow the city to change where the business success might happen, even if there is interest. However, I do urge cautious wisdom on behalf of my fellow council members and future councils as well regarding rezoning areas. I don't believe that in repealing 926, we're just giving up on rezoning, or zoning and planning where commercial activity is going to happen at all. But when we have those discussions in the future, I urge the council to weigh the comments of those affected by the rezoning, the specific rezoning that is requested. And I believe that we have to protect the rights of the individuals in the rezoning area, as well as the entire city, above the profit motive of additional tax revenues when we see those balancing out. But I do recommend that the council repeal Resolution 926, and I yield the floor.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
my support for the repeal comes from a desire for us to move forward on economic development in our community, from a desire for us to expand the circle from just downtown and to take in the entire city, to be able to do the kind of rezoning and the impact fee and connection fee deferments, the property tax reductions, the different things that we have done. This is a component of a larger